Hey, it's Soul with another Dragonflight Alpha video. I'm going to be covering some more of the professions. In an earlier video, I had covered blacksmithing as well as alchemy, and on top of that, cooking. I'm going to go over the rest, and these are very, very early looks at some of these recipes. I'm going to do my best to kind of run through the list and highlight cool items that I saw, things that are worth pointing out. I'm not going to get too much into all the nuance of, hey, how does the crafting work? What are specializations? Because none of that stuff is available for these particular professions that I'm about to show you. But I hope this kind of gives you an idea of what to look forward to if this happens to be like your profession and you're hoping that your profession is going to be kind of a winner. So again, let's just try to go through this quickly. If you don't mind, like the video, subscribe for more content. As soon as we get more extensive coverage over these professions, believe me, you're going to see me come back to these. I'm going to get more in depth into the specializations and how all this stuff works. So starting with engineering, we're looking at parts, and we're familiar, and most engineers are familiar with parts. They're just simply an extra step. They're components that are made to make all the cool stuff that engineers make. These do have quality to them as well, so you want to make decent quality stuff if possible. That way your final crafts are going to be that much better. You'll be able to attach more stuff to them and still have them at a pretty decent item level, but I'm totally skipping ahead with that stuff. Finishing reagents are related to that. There are many different kinds of finishing reagents, especially this essence and wisp of tear. Apparently all professions have these, although these particular finishing reagents they seem to be specific for engineers. Just make them, it makes certain things better, and you're done. We just don't know what they are yet, obviously. Optional reagents are, again, things that kind of augment your crafts. It makes them harder to make, but it enhances them a little bit. It makes certain procs or certain on-use abilities that engineers can make. It makes them less likely to fail. So, whoop-de-doo there. Not too exciting, but, like most of the crafting professions are going to cover this to certain extents. Now, moving on to, I'm gonna kind of skip ahead and go straight to this armor here. Now, there's certain armor, cloth, leather, mail plate. They can make, engineers can make all of them. You can make these certain wrists that have a socket over there. You can see that there's a blue punch card socket, which is definitely a placeholder, but it seems like the design of this is to attach these tinkers right here. Now you can see safety components here, and these safety components are probably what these optional reagents are to kind of make this have less of a likelihood of failure. But going back to these, these are clearly epic items, and while we see, we could see here that we'll be able to infuse it with power, we'll be able to raise the item level and possibly make it into mythic level gear. We can change the stats to have them customized the way that we want them to. There are things that allow us to do it, and I'll show you guys that in a second. But let's just go with the tinkers here, because basically we have kind of a wrist device that can do all sorts of snazzy stuff. So, for example, this one drops a kind of totem, or I'm sorry, a turret that will cloak, and it'll fire on people as soon as it gets in range. Kind of neat. Might have some small PvP or arena kinds of implications. Not sure. Maybe you can use it as sort of a target dummy for a patrol. Not sure, but kind of cool. Brethel Neltharion. Again, this makes the next slotted tinker use guaranteed to succeed, which I'm not exactly sure how this works, because you're tinkering your wrists. You only have one set of wrists, so there might be another device that will be able to activate, and this is going to help supplement it, which is kind of cool. Grounded circuitry, kind of the same thing, probably a placeholder. One of those things is going to change. This one, this one's interesting. This has a 70-yard range, and you just crash into someone as long as you're able to run to them, which is pretty neat. I'm not quite sure if it lets you fly or anything like that, but kind of a cool thing, cool way to close distance, or otherwise just try to have fun with whatever this is. This grease grenade has kind of practical use. You just throw a grenade, that's it, and it slows things down. Now, cool PvP implications there, but otherwise kind of just cool thing. And then there's this plain displacer, which grants invisibility. So if you think about the belt tinkers, this is pretty much what it is, but instead of a belt, it's a wrist. Still pretty cool because, again, you can make these into mythic grade quality, which is very cool. Goggles are back. I'm not going to get too much into this. Now, I guess we'll take a quick look at this because we can see here that there are safety components, which implies, that there might be, hey, here we go. There is a blue punch card socket, so we'll be able to use 2 of these things. So we can forego safety and just have like 2 things that we can throw down throughout the fight, or we can have one thing that we would use and then we would supplement it with a punch card or a gear, whatever it is, something like this to make sure it goes off and that it doesn't fail us during a fight. So that's very cool. That's very neat. Now keep in mind that there's an equip limit of 5 mythic level pieces or 5 crafted pieces that we can have. So as an engineer, it'll be almost a no-brainer for me to go for for a cogwheel here, wear a pair of goggles, have them supplement each other. They're very neat. They can make guns, kind of the same difference. There's no safety stuff, so no punch card here. There is the option to add an embellishment. That is what you normally see on a lot of epic crafted pieces. And there are many different things that you can add as embellishments. Some of them seem to be cosmetic. Some of them have to do with increasing the length of food buffs or potion buffs, things like that. Still very cool though. So here we have cogwheels again, but then these are a little bit different. These are just used as optional crafting reagents, and this is what allows an engineer at least to customize the kinds of stats that they want to have. So this one is like, hey, I want mastery. I want one of these major stats. Scopes and ammo, well, scopes I should say, are making a return. I don't think there's like anything crazy that they do, but I'm just going to guess that they're each going to give like the different sorts of secondary stats, although there's 5 of them, so maybe they'll have like some weird different effects, or perhaps in this case these two seem to have like maybe I don't know, they might be the more difficult ones, whereas these 3, I'm gonna guess they might be the easier ones. Could be either or. There's some random fireworks for the sake of color and fun stuff. That's neat. There's a bunch of explosives as there usually are. This one's neat. Throw the displacer and activate it after 2 seconds, pulling all enemies within 20 yards to its location. Kind of neat. Only outdoor, can only be used outdoors, which is kind of a bummer. Here's a cool one. The I win button. Press the button to call in an airstrike at a designated location, dealing quite a bit of damage to all enemies. Only usable outdoors with a 1-day cooldown. Still pretty neat though. I'll probably just have one for the heck of it while I'm outdoors doing some world content, and I'll just blast fools like surprise. Very neat. This one's a little interesting. This explosion, whatever this is powerful enough to cause moderate siege damage. Siege damage. Haven't heard that one since Wintergrasp, so I wonder if there's anything interesting that's going to be happening with something like that. Can't tell. Maybe we'll find out later. These devices, these do random things, but when I did a kind of a quick run through, I didn't see anything that okay, here we go. So some of these give toy options. So perceive the world as though it were ruled by gnolls. So it looks like corgi goggles, but not corgis. We have a wormhole generator. Just as usual, we're back. PvP flare gun, not sure what that is. A portable alchemy and an engineering table. Now, the engineering table, I don't see a whole lot of use for it. It's not like there's going to be that many situations where I'm going to want to throw down a table on the field. But an alchemy table, that might be kind of cool in case, my potion master person, they want to make a certain something and they're not able to make it on the field. I do recall the WoW team saying that they do want to have the ability for alchemists, people that make consumables, to be able to make things in a raid. They don't need to go all the way back to town. But in some cases, you might want to, and that's what this table is going to be for. No idea anything about this item though, but oh well. From here, this whole section on profession equipment, these are different things that all the different all the different professions can make. These are like enhancements for each of the professions to make their stuff better. So this tailoring tool, it gives inspiration, which is kind of like critically adding more skill to your current skill. And then resourcefulness, which gives a chance to use fewer resources in a given recipe. So this is something that's an example for tailoring. Pretty much all the professions have something to a certain extent. And then finally here at the bottom, these are either or toys or pets. Could be one thing or the other. All right, now let's move on to Inscription. Now this, again, just like all the other professions, we're kind of trying to take a quick glance at stuff, highlight certain things that are interesting. So we can mill. Yay. But in this case, we're able to kind of sort of mass mill. Now this is weird because it only has us mill 5 things at a time. We can choose different reagents to add. And from there, you know, once we have something added, I can't do it here because I haven't learned anything. Once we have it here, then we can just queue up a bunch of things to mill. Now I don't like the fact that it's only 5 at a time. That's a little bit weird because there are previous iterations of Inscription that let us mill 20 at a time. So I hope that gets improved, but you know, we're just gonna wait and see for it to be testable. There are gonna be many kinds of inks that we're gonna be able to make. Whoop-de-doo. I hope that it's gonna be a little bit faster than before. Here's the profession equipment that I was talking about earlier. You know, they just have some random stuff. Some of these have stats, some of them don't. Do ignore the 7,000 stamina, clearly a bug and not intended to be in test. Now we have missives here. Now these missives, we're familiar with these. When you add them to certain profession recipes, such as Inscription, you'll be able to customize the stats. So in this case, you can guarantee versatility and haste. The higher the quality, the less recipe difficulty penalty it provides. So I guess to try to explain this, easily, the better the quality of these missives, okay, I'm not going to do a great job of explaining it. Just make sure that you try to have a high quality missive. That way it's easier for your crafter or yourself to make the highest item level version of the crafted gear that you're trying to make. Great. I made that sound so easy. Now here's this thing called profession specialization. I'm not quite sure what this means, although it uses this artisan's metal. Now this is a special bind-on pickup item that you'll pick up from, I'm not sure if it's going to be like daily content, weekly content, or whatnot, but it's used in quite a few recipes. And in this case, what it does is slightly increase your knowledge of Dragon Isles, one of these professions. And it's kind of hard to say like what that means. Like, does this give you a skill point? It could be something like that, which is kind of ghetto, but I guess in some cases there's going to be people that might be struggling to get skill points and they're having trouble finding work, but they happen to have gold. Maybe they can find a way to get this item and scribes will be able to make an item like this. Or perhaps, yeah, that's kind of all I got. Because if you look at this, I'm trying to understand this. So if I set up a work order, sorry, I'm improvising on this. If I set up a work order for this blacksmithing thing, like let's say a blacksmith is like, oh, I'm having trouble with my skills. I'm going to queue up a bunch of these crafting orders, and hopefully a scribe will show up and be like, okay, I'll make you this thing. And so the scribe will make this draconic thing for the blacksmith, and then the blacksmith can level up. Kind of a weird symbiotic relationship there, but that's something that apparently is going to be available if those crafters want it. That's kind of neat. Runes and sigils. Now, what are these? I'm not quite sure. It looks like this has to do with Dark Moon decks, since the tooltip happens to say so. So this might have something to do with it. As for what it means, not sure. There's no tooltips available, so let's not worry about that. And then of course we have Avantis Rune. We're used to that. Contracts, we're used to these as well, and now we kind of have an idea of the initial reputations for 10.0. There's going to be a Centaur clan, probably on the Anaran Plains. The Consortium, which I believe is related to crafting orders, so it looks like they're going to have their own separate reputation. The Dragon Scale Expedition, which is going to be throughout all the zones, but notably in the first zone. The Tuskar are going to be showing up. They're also on the Azure Span. And then Valdrakken, that's the capital city located in Thaldraszus. That's the fourth and final leveling zone. So cool. 5 reps. Keep that in mind. Okay, so now we have also dragon writing stuff. Scribes will be able to make dragon writing stuff. Now, these are manuscripts though, so it's hard to tell what these mean. Now, are these manuscripts going to be things that immediately let people unlock customization? Or perhaps does it unlock a quest that lets them eventually unlock this customization? Whatever the case though, scribes can make these. Not sure how to make them, but they are going to be hotly desired by folks that are very cosmetic minded, like me. There's going to be a Dark Moon. Let's see, here's the trinkets. So you have decks, you have certain things, you can make it into a possibly mythic piece of gear, and not too much else that we know about it. I think all these things say that they deal damage, except for this one, I believe. Okay, so this one is kind of a tanking trinket. Grants the Watcher's Blessing for 8 to 12 seconds and Absorb Shield for a certain amount of damage. As the shield depletes while the blessing is active, you gain a bunch of verse for the same duration. Same duration or the remaining duration? Anyway, the duration is determined by the topmost card of the deck, and then you shuffle it because that's what the Dark Moon trinkets have been doing. Not bad, I guess. But I guess the important thing is that you can make it into a mythic sort of thing. Now, as for the sigils, that has to do with... Oh, shucks, where'd they go? Well, we saw... Okay, it has to do with these sigils here. So I guess the sigils do certain things for these DMF trinkets. Well, I guess it just makes them a little bit more interesting than they were before. So I'll be interested to find out just what the other procs or what the other on-use abilities are for these things. Cool. Scribes can make weapons. They can make offhands and staves. Yeah, staff, offhand, more staff. Actually, the different quality staff. So 393 staff, 343 staff, another 343, and one more. So they have low level and high level caster weapons. Not bad. No one-handers though, just offhands. Scroll of Sales is something that scribes can make. Summon a vendor of general goods, 1 day cooldown. So it's kind of like having your steward show up, or your Argent Gruntling, or whatever the heck thing that you normally have for selling stuff. If you're doing, especially if you're doing transmog runs and you need to get rid of stuff, this will be a useful thing to have. It doesn't seem to be a whole lot of, very expensive. But I'm guessing that this is a 1 day, or not 1 day. It's an on-use thing, so you only get one, probably. This illusory parchment. No idea what these do. Aqua Torrent, Arcane Burst, Chilling Wind, Magma Missile, Shadow Orb, Spell Shield, Whirling Breeze. It's kind of like saying, hey, you want to unlock some like cosmetic enchant effects? This might be it. So, no idea though. I mean, these, yeah, I have no idea what to make of these. Except, hey, cool, this might be a neat thing. And then there's a Dark Moon booster pack. This is interesting. So, tear open for some Dark Moon cards. Contains cards only native to the Dragon Isles. I'm sure that there are different ways to make these cards, because otherwise you're just using this Artisan's Metal, this kind of weird BOP universal reagent to make these. And then there's a Fortune card, which we have no idea how to make. All right, moving on to Tailoring. Yay, Tailoring. So they're able to unravel cloth. So it's like they're milling cloth now. I think that's a thing. So this Wilder cloth is going to be dropping all throughout the Dragon Isles. Pick it up, unravel it, and then you turn it into thread. It's kind of the opposite. Remember before how we used to pick up cloth and then, we turned the cloth into thread? I guess in a way that didn't really make a whole lot of sense. So in this case, now we're instead of creating cloth, we're milling it down to, well, you know what I mean. Let's move on. Woven cloth. These seem to be, regular up to epic kinds of reagents. So we're familiar with these. It's like, you're making bolts. It's very familiar with how tailoring is. I was just talking about engineering and how they make components too. Same difference. Try to make a good quality reagent here, so that way your final craft will be that much better, have that much better of an item level. Optional reagents, kind of the same thing. Although we don't know exactly what they do, they just seem to add some extra options, which is still pretty cool. This essence and wisp of tears, same stuff that we saw before. Polishing cloth. These help to, well, apparently these help to make certain crafts a little bit better. Now this one saves on resourcefulness, which is kind of interesting. But I think this might be a kind of reagent that we can apply to consumable professions, such as alchemy, maybe inscription or whatnot, in order to make more stuff. So there is going to be some there's going to be quite a bit of cross crafting between the different professions. We have embroidery thread, which kind of does the same thing. These are all finishing reagents, things to help make your final craft a little bit better. Moving on to garments, I'll just kind of just brush through this really quick, although I did see some kind of neat things. This is an example again of epic gear. You can raise the item level, you can customize the secondary stats to be what you want them to. You can add certain embellishments like, again, longer potion duration, longer feast time. Feasts will persist through death. That's kind of a cool thing. But I did notice in a pass through that there were certain effects that were added to a couple of these. And for all I know, there might have been other ones that I saw for engineering or even blacksmithing, which I had covered before, that were not there, that I might have just missed. And it's here somewhere. I'm pretty sure that I saw something that was like, whoa, that's different. That's a very cool thing. Here we go. So these blue dragon souls, which is very clever. Check out the equip effect. After 2 seconds, your movements charge your next spell cast, granting up to 5 stacks of bonus intellect. No idea what that actually means, but it's an obvious and kind of a flavorful buff that you can get for this particular piece of gear. It's specific to this gear. What's kind of interesting too is that you can infuse it with power. You can raise the item level because it starts off as a 393. So I presume that you can make this into mythic quality. However, these stats are set. So you can see here, this has versatility and mastery. If this is great for you, cool. If it's not great for you, bummer. You may need to rethink whether or not this is good for you, or give feedback to Blizzard and say, hey dude, just go ahead and let us customize the stats on this too. Or kind of like engineering, let us enchant certain things, let us add certain effects to certain pieces of gear to make our profession choice feel really cool. So these are scattered around here. I'm not gonna go through and find all of them, although I did just find another one. So let's check this one out. This is a belt. Using a spell or ability has a 10% chance to rally 10 nearby allies to victory for 10 seconds, while rallied allies gain a respectable, a minor but still respectable amount of versatility. So that's kind of cool. And we'll just really quick, that seems to be it for now. Yep, seems to be it. Profession garments, again, these are things that make professions better at what they do by increasing their stats, which you can't really see here, not a big deal. There's spell thread, which I'm not quite sure if it's a reagent or not. Let's pretend it is for now because I can't say otherwise. And then we have bags. Now this is kind of an interesting one. Now here we have the reagent bag, which we presume is going to be the extra bag slot that's going to be added in Dragonflight. But here's the thing, there's this Chronocloth reagent bag that provides 36 whopping slots, which is awesome. And then there's this, green bag that also provides 36 slots. Something's going to be different. Either this blue bag is going to be bigger, or this green bag is going to be way smaller. So something's going to happen to give a difference between these two levels of bags. I'm hoping that this one gets bigger. I'm hoping this one gets to like 50 or 60 slots or something like that. That would be amazing. But otherwise, there are still bags that tailors will be able to make. There's a 34 slot bag that no longer costs, what, like 250,000 or 500,000 gold in Legion Dalaran. But a 34 slot bag is coming. There's going to be a basic 32 that may or may not be accessible. Depends on how hard it is to make these certain things. Ooh, epic. Ooh, it's going to be expensive. Ooh, that's going to be expensive too. And that, not so much. So I'll probably be happy with a smaller reagent bag, at least for a little while. Not until we get into other zone content and we're totally, I don't know, I guess we'll be totally overwhelmed with random zone crap, I guess. A duck. Take a nap with your favorite ducky with a 10-minute cooldown. Somehow this isn't a toy. It should be a toy. I obviously don't know what this does, but hey, fun little thing, right? A forlorn funeral pall, another toy, covers the recently deceased in a mourning cloth. Okay, that's hilarious, actually. Okay, Explorer's Banner of the Dragon Isles Flora. Okay, so it's a guild battle standard, 100 yards. You get more XP. It's the thing to, you know, help people farm XP for you. With you. For you. With you. You know what I mean? This one gives... This is the honor version of it. Very cool. I can make a Plague of Toads. That doesn't sound right. This is the Explorers League exploring tent. Why would it summon a Plague of Toads? Cold Cushion. Another Plague of Toads. Wow, that's great. Cushion of Time Travel. Summon more toads. Wow. Tailoring. Tent 1. More toads. Here we go. Oh, this is different. Tailoring is able to make this, which, you know, provides the same kind of effect as like a sharpening stone or a whetstone, and that's very different. Tailoring provides it. And bandages. Good old bandages. Rip bandages. All right, moving on to Jewelcrafting. We know what prospecting is, right? Choose your thing, get in, get the good stuff. Cool. Reagents, if you've been watching this video in order, you kind of know what I'm talking about here. It's just reagents to make stuff, components. We're familiar with these. Rudimentary gems. Let's take a look at these. So it looks like we have dual stats again. So crit haste on this one. Haste and verse. Mastery and crit strike. Oh, it's a little bit stronger, okay? Verse mastery and stamina. Stamina gems are kind of coming back. All right. And there are many kinds of gems. That's different. This is my first time looking at this one, so. Okay, so here we have better stuff. This is crit haste. Let's see if it's centered around a certain thing. So this is on crit and haste. This is verse haste. So this is a haste kind of thing. Okay. Stamina and haste. Mastery and haste, and I'm guessing this is haste. Yep, 36 haste. How do you not want that? That doesn't even sound right, actually. This sounds like terrible atomization. Look at this. This is what, 24? This is 24 points in our stat budget. This is 36. This is gonna change, obviously. I just wanted to nitpick and point that out. So we kind of get that vibe. So this is the pure mastery one. And so this is haste mastery, stam mastery, crit mastery. You know, okay, cool. So this this one seems to be the outlier. And then we have fire gems. You know, we kind of get the idea with those. Now a primalist gem. That's not a color. That's not an element. This is the unique equip gem. So you can have one of these things. It could be your primary stat plus haste. Or the other things, you know, something, verse, mastery, and speed. Wow, look at that speed, buddy. 300 speed. I'm not quite sure what 300 speed translates to. I'm gonna guess like at least 5%. That's something that feels kind of significant. I might want to use this, although there's only so many things that we'll be able to enchant with No, never mind. So check this out. Tiered medallion setting. Add 1 socket to endgame Dragonflight necklace. A necklace can have up to 3 sockets. The quality of this item determines up to how many sockets it can add. So definitely make the good stuff and try to get 3 sockets on your neck. That would be amazing. I wonder, so this is only one thing that we're seeing here. So it looks like a jewel crafter only really has control over this, over the necklace, add a bunch of stuff, but not ring. That's kind of a bummer. And they can make trinkets. Jewel crafters can make trinkets. Let's see what these do, because these seem to do like things. Spells and abilities have a chance to grant a 17 haste per, I'm going to say, emerald that you have equipped. Upon reaching 15 stacks, this effect becomes Titan's Generosity, which grants 64 to all secondary stats for 15 seconds. That's kind of neat. Numbers wise, I can't really say what that really means, but the effect of this is kind of cool, because now it makes you think, okay, if I have a certain number of gems equipped, I'm able to get this. I'm able to get a certain boost. So do these things do anything different? So that's haste, mastery, crit strike, and verse. We can up the item level. I can't say for sure if there's going to be anything else that we can do with this, but that's pretty cool. We can make mythic trinkets that can have some pretty cool effects. Let's get to the bread and butter of this. Let's make some rings and necklaces and stuff. And these seem to have effects on them too. Let's take a look at these. So this neck here, 2 stats plus a socket. Presumably you can put 2 more. It's an on use. Drain the elemental energies from you and your gems, sacrificing 46 from each of their associated stats to shield you for a certain amount per gem socketed for 10 seconds. That's neat. That's kind of neat. You're sacrificing 46 from each of their associated stats. I mean, that part sucks. Losing those stats sucks. But for the sake of having, a defensive thing going for 10 seconds, and we don't know how many gems we can have on. At the very least, we saw, there's 3 if you put her on this neck. And so, ta-da, that's going to be like 10 or so K, which is, frankly, kind of pathetic. But hopefully we'll be able to have more sockets on our person, whether it's via jewel crafting or, Great Vault. You use that to enchant certain things to get more gem slots. That'll make this effect even stronger. So, that's kind of a cool neck. So what does this one do? Now, this one is a more throughput-related thing. Spells and abilities have a chance to empower 1 of your socketed elemental gems, granting an increased stat for 12 seconds. Dude, these are cool. Okay, I like this one more than the tanking one. Sorry, Choker of Shielding, but this one just seems way better. Yeah, for sure. Now, this one, it says random stats, but you can customize the stats here. You can raise the item level. This feels like it's gonna be very, very strong. Very, very popular among folks. Okay, moving on to this, a different kind of ring. Take you to a place that you may have long since forgotten with a 20-hour cooldown. By printable, I want to make this because I just want to find out where this takes me. But once I find out, then this is going to mean nothing, but that's kind of cool. This does let you add an embellishment though, so you can do whatever the heck it is that the embellishments do. Longer food time, little enchants there. Might be neat. This one here is more straightforward and also requires fewer materials, so that's understandable. And then we move down to like blue stuff, and I'm guessing greens. Yep, down to greens. So kind of neat. And both rings and neck. So the rings don't seem to do anything crazy, although rings at least do have a socket. That's cool. So now we at least know that there are 4 sockets that we can have. Go us. Statues and carvings. Interesting. Okay, let's go through these. So, Jardin's Pinata. Place an intimidating statue of a decapitated dragon onto the battlefield nearby, which can be attacked by players of either faction. Once it's destroyed, it'll drop a random battleground buff that anyone can... Oh, that's fun. That's kind of neat. Can only be used in war mode on the Dragon Isles and in unrated battlegrounds, 15-minute cooldown. So, I mean, wouldn't you want to wouldn't you want to drop this just in your base, right? Or like right at the start of the battleground, you drop the thing, everyone goes for it and goes nuts, gets a cool little buff. That hopefully will get them a good start to the match. That's kind of neat though. Very cool, very flavorful. Narcissist Sculpture. Place a luxurious statue of yourself, of course, which increases your size and intellect while you admire your glorious self. That's hilarious. So I'm gonna throw this thing down. I'm gonna get bigger. I get int, and then I can start going to town. That's pretty funny. Outdoor use only though. Kalawak Figurine. Place a pristine figurine inspired by the Tuskar culture nearby, which grants fishing skill to everyone who stands near it, who stands near it for 1.5 minutes. So, fishing party, gather around, drop the statue, get good. Statue of Tyr's head. Place a remarkable statue of a Titan Keeper nearby for 2 minutes. Players who kneel before it will have their worthiness judged. And I guess they'll get like a fun little buff out of that. That seems to be a lot of effort to make, like, just kind of a fun little thing like that, but I'll be tempted to. And Revitalizing Red Carving. Place a glorious draconic statue on the ground nearby where it will heal you for a short time before its power fades. So you're out and about, you're doing stuff, get into a fight, gotta heal up, don't got bandages, here you go. Use this guy right here. A lot of effort to make something like that though, but that's okay. 5 battle pets, 5 whelplings. Well, that's easy money. Easy money. Well done, Jewelcrafters. Novelties, more toys, Convergent Prism. You clutch the enchanted prism in your hand to guide a beam of light to very precise locations. It's only visible to your peoples. Fun stuff. Jeweled Offering. Humbly offer your most prized possession to whomever considers you worthy to accept it. That is my heart, and that is precious. I'll offer it to nobody. Rhinestone Sunglasses. Hey. Split Lens Specs. Ooh, more glasses. Nice. And a ludicrously luxurious Lucky Loop. What is that? Luckstat? An ostentatiously extravagant ring from which its value is derived purely from its absurdity, worn only by the most superstitious among the wealthiest of nobles. So I'm guessing this does literally nothing, right? So there's a luxurious loop, and not sure how to get this. It's a bind on account thing. You can, move it around, but you can make a luxurious thing, which also can be traded around. But luck plus 12. This kind of has me interested, but I'm pretty sure this does nothing. Maybe you glow. Maybe you get a cool effect with it or something like that. Let's kind of wrap this one up. So professional equipment, we know what that is. Just makes your stuff a little bit better, depending on the profession this is being made for. And then finally, extravagant glassware. So what's this? A marvelous thing. It's cracked to reveal a small hoard of emeralds. So I guess this is kind of a way to, I don't know, to kind of make tradable, movable things to give to people? I'm not sure. Yeah, this doesn't really tell me. A marvelous gift. It can be cracked to reveal a small hoard of calcite. So queens. Yeah, weird. I guess this is a way to kind of upgrade gems. Yeah, this might be a way to upgrade gems. So check this. So you got your green gem. You combine it with stuff, and then you get possibly a blue gem. Something like that. That might be cool. Or maybe this is like the other way around. It's kind of like shattering enchanting mats or something like that. All right, moving on to leatherworking. Let's go. Let's get these errors out of the way and knock this thing out. So it seems that this kicks off straight into armor. With effects. So we'll take a look at like a sample of these as we're kind of going through. I think that's probably good enough. Okay, so let's take a look at this. A fur coat. It has set stats, just like the tailoring stuff we were looking at earlier. The stats are set, so if they're not good for you, that's a bummer. But let's look at the effect. Using a spell or ability gives the same thing that the tailoring stuff did. So it may be the case where all the major crafting professions, between leatherworking, tailoring, and blacksmithing, all of them are going to give this sort of effect, depending on your class. So that's kind of neat. Cool. This thing, I'm gonna guess this does something different. Okay, so in this case, the ancestral spirits assist you, causing you to deal 1% more damage to target to attack you for 5 seconds. So a flat 1% increase to your DPS. Not so great, especially if burst mastery is not your. If burst mastery is your thing, if that's what you want, that's what you need, then this is great. Best in slot, period. If not, not so much best in slot, because that 1% won't be worth it. But still very cool. In this one, you are wrapped in an intense heat, which burns nearby foes for a 500 fire damage. Dude, this is dope. I want this one. I don't care if it's 500 damage, and I know that 500 damage isn't going to mean jack in the grand scheme of things. But think about think about if you're like running old content. Strap this thing on, run through old content, watch the multiplier just like annihilate everything. Oh, that's hilarious. This is fun. This is like the thing that I would want to have with me if I'm like running like really old content. Shoot, since I'm a paladin, I wonder if it'll work anyway. I'll just make it for myself and I'll just put it on, run through the old content, and just have at it. I don't really need that, but that's kind of cool anyway. And check this out. This thing, there's even like a set. There's even set gear here. So this is again epic stuff. We cannot change the stats or anything or add embellishments. But let's take a look at this. So 2 set bonus, non-periodic damage and healing has a chance to pelt your target with a magic snowball, causing enemies to take 1% more damage from you or to allies to receive more healing from you. Your magic snowballs can now have a rock on them and will slow enemies dramatically for 2 seconds on impact. So, funny. I wouldn't say it's all that useful, but that's cool. We'll see if the numbers happen to change. I have a feeling that they won't change much at all. They're probably not going to make it so that a crafted set, which you need 3 pieces for, is going to become like a best in slot thing that's going to, run the risk of messing with itemization between like tier sets, trinkets, and other cool bonuses that people are trying to balance between. They don't want to make it. I imagine they don't want to make it too complicated, which kind of sacrifices the whole point of a set like this. But I guess for people that don't do big 3 content, raids, dungeons, PvP, this is just like a fun thing to have. So kind of cool. Another thing with an effect. Oh man, dude, leatherworking. Man, we're seeing some pretty complete stuff with leatherworking here. Okay, so these boots, it says, ooze a toxic slime, which slows your actions, reducing haste by 98. Oh, that's a debuff, buddy. The slime will occasionally splash onto your target when you deal damage, dealing nature damage. These effects are strengthened by 15% each time you are wearing, for each item that you are wearing that is infused with the power of decay. So I don't know what that means, except for if I look at this toxic thing here, let's see what this does. So the thorns feed off your vitality, reducing stamina by 47. Spells and abilities, something does more damage, and it strengthens. So another kind of set thing. What the heck? This is crazy. These are some wild items, and we've been seeing very inconsistent stuff between all of the different armor professions. So I'm going to be very curious to see, as we go further along in the alpha, how are these things going to evolve? Are they going to stay? Are they going to get stronger, weaker? Are there going to be conflicts? That's very, very interesting though. Very cool. Male armor, kind of same stuff. Let's take a quick glance at these. These boots permeate a deep chill, causing your attacks to sometimes deal damage but permanently slow your movement speed. Dangerous as all heck. Using a spell or ability has a chance to rally. This is the one that seems to be kind of the universal thing. Like we saw it for tailoring too. So okay, we can go with that. Let's go at some random stuff. So here we are with a different set. Holy moly! I guess it's because this is male. Crit hits and heals have a chance to spur you on, granting 5 haste for 10 seconds. The effect stacks up to a really pathetic amount. Don't worry about the numbers right now. You also gain 5 speed per stack. Yeah, this is wild, man. There's like all sorts of like gear that like does stuff. I'm jealous. I'm very jealous. They get a riding crop. It's back. It's back, guys. Ah! Increases mount speed by 10%. Still takes up a trinket slot. That's criminal. But but it's BOE. Some sucker's gonna pick it up. Watch. Armor kits. Oh, check this out. They got permanent armor kits again. Apply a frosted armor kit to your leg armor, permanently increasing its armor by $1.35. Additionally, the item also grants agility and strength. I wouldn't be surprised at all if there's going to be a tailoring version of this that just isn't implemented yet. That's awesome. Okay, what about these? This one gives stamina as well as the agility and strength. Oh yeah, dude, I'll take that. Forget 135 armor. I want this guy right here. Yeah. And then this reinforced armor kit. This just gives main stats. Oh yeah, it just gives either agility or strength. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be a tailoring version of this thing. But the fact that that Leatherworking has leg armor kits again, very, very neat. Okay, toys. Place a sign so everyone can know where the best goods are sold. Ooh, baby. Sell that body. I think that's what they meant. Gnoll tent. Place a Gnoll tent to rest and relax under. Or to put an artisan sign in front of it to let people know that what you're selling is the best. Then finally, a tusk-carved beanbag. As this, place a tusk-carved beanbag that can be sat on and last for 2 minutes. Cool. Just cool. Yeah, there's a big variety of like different junk, not junk, but different random stuff that you can make. Here's the profession equipment as usual. Lots of different stuff that leather workers can make. All of these are going to be desired by different crafting classes. Now, it's kind of a one-time thing. Don't get me wrong. So the market for these, no telling how good or bad that these are going to be, but there's going to be some demand for these sorts of things, which is still cool. This seems to be going backwards now. The optional reagents, those are like, makes your recipes easier or harder. These reagents, these are all just kind of components for you to make the kinds of things that you want. We're familiar with those. Savage bow. Yeah, they'll be making some, they can make some weapons. Oh, and check it out. This bow has an effect on it. Your pet is filled with savage inspiration, causing it to deal 5% more damage. Heck yeah, dude. That's cool. So if crit haste is your stat, and I have a feeling for at least one spec, it's gotta be like the main stat. This is like a thing to get, man. Now, you can't do certain things with it, but is that a big deal? As long as you can raise the item level to, something really high, like mythic, this could be best in slot. So like for a Beastmaster Hunter, this could be your best in slot thing that you'll be going for. I think that's kind of cool. I think that's kind of dangerous too, because, oh no, toe stepping. What about my mythic gear? What about my dungeon gear, my PvP gear and all that stuff? So they can make an offhand. They can make one offhand that has an effect here. Dealing nature damage. Oh, how specific, right? So this is an offhand that is pretty much for shaman. I'm trying to remember like how much nature damage evokers do, and they don't really. They do frosty stuff, they do fire stuff, but not nature. So this is like the shaman thing to have. So dealing nature damage with spells and abilities has a small chance to inflict a withering rot upon your target, slowing their movement speed by 41%. Dude, Dealing nature damage has a chance to just ruin your enemy for 5 seconds. That is cruel. No way is that going to keep. Or no way is that going to be effective in arena PvP. Because wow, that's crazy. Okay, Bow of the Dragon Hunters, that's kind of a normal thing. But notice that in this case, you can customize the stats, you can add the embellishment here to change it to what you want it to, and then this is a basic crossbow. And then of course, drums. They're back, baby. Go us. And finally, we're gonna cover the gathering professions. Herbalism didn't really have anything. Like when I took a look at this, it was like totally blank. But for skinning and mining, it's kind of the same thing, mostly. In this case, with skinning, you're able to take these hides and combine them and make them into like better things. So you can take like a normal hide and you can raise the quality. I guess raise it to something better. So that kind of makes me wonder, like, if you're skinning, is the quality always going to be like the lower quality, and then you gotta bump it up to the higher quality, and then the higher quality again if possible? Now in practice, this is like no different from taking regular desolate leather and turning it into heavy desolate leather. Let's take a quick look. I don't think we saw anything about the use of heavy leather for like some of these recipes. So resilient leather, leather. Yeah, so nothing about like heavy stuff. Of course, there's noting like the quality of it, which it doesn't quite show up here. And that might just be a temporary and alpha thing for right now. But yeah, not a big deal. Mining is kind of the same thing. You're able to take those certain mining skills, and you're able to smelt it into usable materials or different kinds of usable materials. So it's kind of the same thing. And then with herbalism, there wasn't anything to show for that, so I didn't bother. Now again, I didn't show certain other professions. I didn't show enchanting because there was quite literally nothing there to show for enchanting. And I already covered the likes of cooking and blacksmithing and alchemy in the previous video, where I went like really deep into specializations. And again, I just wanted to kind of sort of brush through the different recipes here. I think I went on quite a bit longer than I wanted to, but I think that's okay. I went through a lot of professions, and there are some pretty cool things to find there. So if you have any favorites, let us know in a comment below. Let us know your thoughts on whether you think that your profession is kind of a winner right now or a loser, or if you're just kind of still waiting and seeing. I can't wait to cover more of this as the weeks and months go by. I'll be happy to share my findings with you, so please feel free to like the video, subscribe to the channel so you can come back for more, and I'll see you guys later. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay breezy.